reaching international audiences. Thank you for joining me this evening. I have my green tea, as you can see. It says on here racing because people call me a racist. And I tell them, yeah, I like racing cars. That's a joke. I'm not actually a racist. But people have called me that in the past, especially here in the Tulsa independent film community. I've been called lots of things, actually. I have my paperback version, and I have here the hardcover, which I call the deluxe version because it comes with an extra little chapter, and it comes with colored photos in color, and actually some. I added a few more pictures here, posters from my past events. Now I'm going to be reading from this book because sectioned off. I have sectioned off some of the pages I want to read. There's four in particular, that I will be reading to you guys. I'm going to wait a little bit until people start showing up. So I hope everyone's having a good evening. I'm just here chilling, drinking out of my racing cup. For those who don't know, racing is actually a soccer team from Argentina. So we're just going to wait a little bit until people start popping up. They usually do after a few minutes of being live. So, yes, 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 here we are, folks. Finally did it. Yesterday I was feeling a bit under the weather, so I couldn't actually get to it. I still have a bit of a cough. And I'm still vaping here and there, which I know I shouldn't do, but I still do it. This green tea is fantastic. This green tea is fantastic. So, like I said, you can actually get the hardcover, the deluxe version on Amazon as well. It's available. It's a little bit more expensive because it is in color, and like I said, it comes with a few exclusive pictures and an extra chapter. So let's see. Let's get into. Let's just read a little bit of the back cover. See what it says. In the heart of Tulsa, Lasso, Oklahoma's India tour brings you behind the scenes of independent cinema, capturing the grit, passion, and wisdom of filmmakers and actors who have spent decades chasing their art. Dialogues: Oklahoma independent cinema, filmmakers, actors, and the future of AI in film is book one of the Dialogues and Critiques trilogy, a living record of real conversations with the people shaping indie film in Oklahoma. From filmmakers and actors to festival organizers and innovators, these pages capture the unfiltered energy of late night debates, behind the scenes stories, and hard earned wisdom here in this book. Hey, what's up, people? Poop, poop. We got Doggy and Drew Myers. In this first volume, Lissandra Boccacci, that's me, shares his experience as an undiscovered underground filmmaker for 25 years, exploring the journey, struggles, and triumphs of creating independent cinema in Tulsa. So there you go. We're going to get into this. Drew Myers just said he just farted. Congratulations. So I want to read a little bit of the first pages here. When you open the book, it says dedication. This book is for dreamers who haven't picked up a camera yet, for the fighters knee deep in their first project, and for the seasoned veterans who carry the scars and triumphs of a lifetime in film. Live your life and die bold. We got a table of contents, acknowledgments. I'll go over that real quickly. To the special guests that gave their time to have these conversations with me, mentors and teachers who left footprints in my journey: Matt Edwards, Jeff Van Hanken, Bob Dodd, and to the professors at TU, TCC, and Union like Troy Powell, who opened doors in my mind and handed me the keys to theater. To the allies who stood in my corner: Gene Barber, Chris Freihofer, Jim Runyon, Paul Gay, Bill Marsali. If you don't know Paul Gay, he wrote Liar Liar, and Bill Marsali wrote Deja Vu. I spent some time with them and got some excellent advice from them as screenwriters. Your guidance in theater, television, and film has been a compass when the road blurred. To everyone at the Spotlight Theater and Go Shows for believing in the wild ideas and giving them a home to grow, and to all the actors I've worked with who brought words and visions to life. Aliyah says $1. Drew Meyer says, not at all. Doggy says, yeah, definitely not. Aaliyah says, $10. Drew Meyer says, poop is very debatable. Doggy says, I'm going to go fart and poop all over my house. Bye. This is my thank you to the people who taught me that filmmaking is not just about light and shadow, but about the souls who help you chase them. To my family that has always been there for me. And lastly, a big thank you to Bare Bones Film Festival in Muskogee, Oklahoma for crowning me India Tour of the Year in 2010. Okay, let's dive in to part one a little bit, and then I'll get into these little sections that I've kind of sectioned off with bookmarks. Part one: Past, Present, and Future of Filmmaking, Screenwriting, and the Ethics of AI. This conversation focuses on the landscape of indie filmmaking in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and features some of the city's leading independent voices: Hank Bird, Kyle Kawiki Harris, Patrick McNicholas, special AI guest Dr. Brett McKinney, whose expertise in AI helped us unpack how this wave of technology is already reshaping the industry, leading to widespread debates, concerns, and even strikes, and myself, Lissandra Boccacci. What makes them all uniquely positioned to be honored to represent and speak on behalf of the state of indie filmmaking is their experience making movies as artists, filmmakers, India tours right here in Tulsa and surrounding areas, including myself. The conversation took place on September 24th, 2023 at Circle Cinema and was recorded live and transcribed by me, Oklahoma's India Tour. We discussed not only our personal film journeys, but also the increasing role of AI in the film industry and how certain projects have left a lasting impact on us. Now, I need to be honest, the level of attentiveness and respect shown toward me at my event, particularly by Circle Cinema, was extremely disappointing. Even Ghost Shows and Broken Arrow, while not perfect, has shown more support to local artists, filmmakers, stand-up comedians, and creatives. I remember bringing flyers to the event to Circle Cinema. They told me the only place they could put them was on the corkboard by the bathroom. That's always that's always a letdown because if you genuinely support someone's work, you don't hide their flyer in the back. You display it proudly in the lobby where everyone can see it. When I went to check it, I found the corkboard literally lying on the floor. At first, I thought it was a prank. I even laughed, assuming it was some kind of joke. But when I went to the front counter and brought it up, the guy just casually said, "Oh yeah, the corkboard fell." You should have seen my face, trying to mask how insulted I felt by the whole interaction. This was a grown man acting like a disinterested teenager, popping popcorn and brushing off my event like it didn't matter. I put every bit of my time and money into organizing this. What stung what stung most was being told they couldn't put my event title or name on the marquee due to a credit card machine issue. I followed up later, and by that time, they told me the marquee space had already been sold. Even worse, the staff hadn't seen the email I'd sent days before. It felt like they were jerking me around at every turn. And then the event itself. Nobody showed up. I had repeatedly asked them to help promote it, to let their members and moviegoers know. It was a free event. They did nothing. No flyers, no shout out, no Facebook posts, not even mentioning their website. For what I paid, the experience was beyond frustrating. We got a few comments here. Redenies Corazon Senna. That's hard to say. Hi, do you remember me? I gotta say, not. I mean, my memory's so bad. There's so many of you that pop up, but I apologize. I remember you now. Drew Myers. I mean, what are we talking about? Drew Myers. No. Ray Denise Querzonacina, not you. Drew Myers. Yo, I just got the strawberry elephant. Some of you are just funny. Da-da-da-da. So let's get back to it. To be honest, I should have asked for my money back, but in the end, I didn't because I still got the chance to sit with four extraordinary people. That alone made it worthwhile. It was an authentic representation of Tulsa's true indie filmmakers, the real ones, the OGs, the ones without Sundance connections, without Hollywood backing, still creating against all odds. I've been doing this for a long time. I've seen filmmakers come and go. I've seen political games get people ahead. I've seen enthusiastic, talented artists put their all into projects and get nowhere. And I'm one of them. It's It's impossible to get anything done here, and the disrespect toward locals only makes it worse. What connects me, Kyle, and Hank is that we all came up through bare bones. That's how you know it really started with nothing. No industry support, no nepotism, just raw creativity and grit. And let me tell you, when you don't have Sundance in your back pocket, everything is 20 times harder. You're not taken seriously, you're not given respect. Outsiders don't get it. They've never been in our shoes. They don't understand the level of discrimination we face as local filmmakers. They think we're clueless, backwards, rednecks, or amateurs. Maybe that's why Circle Cinema treats us the way they do. Personally, my roots run deep in this city's film scene. I've collaborated with old school indie producers, the kind making horror films in the 70s and 80s. I was lucky enough to be on some of those low budget sets, films most people have never heard of because they didn't have Sundance or A24 behind them. But those filmmakers mattered, their work mattered. And mine does too, and so do the ones that you've never heard of. Because when I take a look back at history, I saw artists who decided to do art and call it film, movies, shorts, moving pictures. Somehow in the modern world, the ones who do this today get shat on by the people who play gatekeepers in the community. But in truth, yes, it matters that local filmmakers have access to movie screens because that's their chance of exhibiting their work. And if filmmakers like me, who have been denied, even banned from local movie theaters based on rumors and social media rants, then no one is safe anymore. You can't talk freely without someone going out of their way to destroy your career, at the very least, try to block you from gaining access. And I've experienced my fair share with Circle. There's a rich history of independent cinema here in Tulsa that continues to get overlooked. Maybe it's not flashy enough, maybe it doesn't fit the brand, but for those of us in the trenches, for those who have remained loyal soldiers to cinema through all the phases, from obscure indie projects like The Rock and Roll Dreams of Duncan Christopher, The Brick House, Stray Kids, and Voodoo Cat, to Killers of the Flower Moon, we deserve at least a little respect. Circle Cinema staff have labeled me a fraud. They've said my films aren't real. That tells you everything you need to know about their ignorance and how out of touch they are with Tulsa's true film history. People stick to the big three: VHS, Outsiders, Rumblefish. That's all Tulsa considers movies shot in Tulsa. You look at any organization that puts on locally made movies, they totally ignore us. This is ignorance. This is lack of respect. This is bullshit. And they just don't care. It was a fine evening and all the guest speakers were there, except there was one problem. No one showed up to our event. No one. But we pressed on anyway, and I'm thankful that everyone stuck by to have this dialogue exchange with with this amazing talents and minds. So that's kind of an intro, and then it goes into the dialogue between all the filmmakers. I won't get into that. Um, you can buy a copy, but I want to skip ahead to the next little part I sectioned off. Here we go. We got some comments. We got some comments. Drew Meyer says, "Burr burr, Patty Pan burr burr, Patty Peen, Bodetto, Chola Reason, Tongue Hung Tongue Sashore." I watched Forrest Gump recently. That's a good one. So here's a section that I sectioned off to read. It's kind of ahead. It's page 15, and this is me talking to the filmmakers. Well, going off the whole Rumblefish Outsiders, before working on Killers of Flower Moon, I worked on my 17th shoestring budget film called Stray Kids, heavily inspired by those local classics. And what's crazy, even inspired by Martin Scorsese's Mean Streets. So to go like full circle in a way, working my own indie movie and working on Scorsese's movie, taking his masterclass, literally he tells you, go out and make your own movies. Looking back, doing all of this work back to back, it felt like attending, like a master graduate level university. It was intense. And after the whole year of working the indie showcase events, I feel very much like it was laying a foundation that will eventually spinball into making SAG movies instead of shoestring budget movies. But for me, there's an important factor to the community. Other local indie filmmakers who really don't get any kind of great help, but still manage to make things happen without a real leg up in the industry. Like, for example, with the case with Sterling Harjo, everyone knows who he is, but it's like he had Sundance in his back pocket at age 14 or something. At age 14, I had just beaten cancer. In my opinion, Harjo doesn't do anything for local filmmakers. And to tell you the truth, he was always a bully towards me, or just weird, or felt some strong hatred from him. And all the times I tried to approach him and talk to him, and I'm not the only one he disrespects locally. People love him, and he acts like he did it on his own, which is so far from the truth. All the grant money he gets back to back in access, it's unheard of compared to any other filmmaker here in town. I mean, I've applied for the same grants over the years and never get them. And it's not lack of some sort of talent or genius on my part, that I can assure you, but I always get the same response. If I get one at all, it's that I'm not diverse enough, which I find hilarious as someone who is known locally for having the biggest body diverse indie work and largest and longest collaboration projects with locals with different artists and topics for many years. If you want to count my time making VHS short films when I was in the first grade, although high school and all through high school and college, not to mention all the theater I've done locally, including performing the historical play The Drunkard at the Spotlight Theater. It's unheard of and unmatched by but my ideas go unfunded. I go grantless. Locally, I get banned from Circle Cinema and Gypsy Coffee House because people are not nice locally. If they don't want to grant you access, they won't. And it's not out of lack of innovative ideas or being unknown because they know who I am. Considering all the things I've done on my own to show people what I can do with literally nothing, no connections, what I've done, and what these companions that I admire and look up to and are here, and I'm greatly honored because they are the true champions of the indie scene, in my opinion, here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. They are geniuses and are doing fantastic things for one indie filmmaker to continuously get trophies, awards, work, access, and act like he earned it is a joke to me. That's why he's nicknamed in Tulsa by the film community here as Sterling the Silver Spoon Sundance Plant. His work isn't that good. He's insanely overrated, but he's like the Native American filmmaker that they want to prop up, use to represent Tulsa filmmaking here. And I don't like it. It's like a big, nasty shadow that lingers over every other filmmaker. So overrated, not even that good or interesting. And it's like they must keep awarding him to make him look like he is more than he is. His smile is disingenuous. When I see him in real life, he's frowning all the time. Doesn't surprise me. He isn't a very nice person. This is why I got kicked out of Circle Cinema and had the FBI come to my door, and the cops came during an event I had at the same time they had one. And I guess they were spreading lies about me that I was going to do something violent. I mean, these people are insanely biased towards other filmmakers. Sterling and Circle are thick as thieves, and him and the guy who ran Circle just won Best Tulsans of the Year. These are the people that bully me. When I submitted my films for the Indie Lens, they said my films aren't real and they only do real films. It was such an insult. But this is the mentality of these people. They've called me fake, and it's really heartbreaking how they've treated me when all I want to do is be able to have access, be able to screen my work. These people won't even take a minute to meet with me and watch my movies. I've had to premiere my movies. I've had to premiere my movies at Circle down I've had to premiere my movies at Circle down the street from my house. These people are a niche. They think they have the chokehold on indie filmmaking here, and they don't. And I'm here to make sure we also get seen and heard in Tulsa. I'm also calling out Channel 6 Coca-Cola Porsche segment for totally ignoring us. Same goes with Tulsa World and all the groups that keep ignoring us every time we have an event or premiere or win an award at a film festival. They tell us to come back next time, while other filmmakers that are part of the niche get all the media coverage. It's a big problem, and obviously, Circle being Circle, the center for indie filmmakers in Tulsa, it's where you go to get your movie screened. Well, because of the chokehold and the gatekeeping by these bullies, I built the Indie Showcase from nothing. In 1 year, we've done so many innovative things that no one has done or even thought about doing. Things like projecting scripts in a movie theater during table reads, started by me here at Go Shows because Circle Cinema turned me down. They always turn me down. And a year later, they started doing their own table reads, and table reads using the screen, and I guess a variation of reading local shorts, which was something I was planning on doing. But after Circle did it, I pretty much took over and pretty much took over the community. These people have no problem getting inspired by me. They keep an eye on me and what I'm doing. I mean, Stray Kids is a very innovative movie. It's a hybrid, but also a film noir, a low budget, and behold, Sterling had to make a noir. I started a master session to teach story physics, which, by the way, no one teaches that. I'm the only one, but lo and behold, turns out Harjo's teaching. But it's the most basic stuff. I noticed, and TU is another place run by people in the film department that don't like me very much, like Michael Wright. I never liked his attitude towards me, never liked how he wasted our time during screenwriting class. He didn't teach us anything of value, and to be fair, I only took the class to see if the things I self taught myself were in line with what someone else would teach, and yes, they were. But compared to what Michael was teaching, it felt like he didn't really know a whole lot about screenwriting, just like pretty much surface level stuff. So I got TU, Circle Cinema, Harjo people, and the niche people here all pretty acting like I'm some sort of enemy to the community, which is annoying and doesn't surprise me. It's always the same wherever I go. You try to meet, collaborate, and immediately those people want to put you down and make you feel less than. It's their fault for not seeing my value. It's their fault for acting like bullies. It's their fault for treating me like I was clueless and had no talent. They don't get to sit at the table where I eat, and I'm quite happy with what I got going on. Nothing was handed to me. It's all self made and self funded, self taught, and self made. You can't beat that kind of experience. People say, how is it, Lee, that you can do so much and conduct so much and never quit when you don't have anything? No one backing you. The simple answer is, I'm authentic. If I got any of the grants or funding, even just half of what Harjo has, I would blow his work out of the water. It's that simple. Considering what I've done with nothing, my experience of Hollywood sets, and all the training I put myself through doesn't come close. And I'm not trying to blame or compare. This isn't what this is. It's just pure honesty. The landscape here is tilted, and certain people are favored. It's unfair to have to spend my 25th anniversary as an independent filmmaker still struggling, still having to work side jobs to make ends meet. I still use food stamps so I don't go hungry, still get disrespected, and it doesn't matter what I do, even when it's things they can't do themselves. They can't applaud my accomplishments. Not once do they. Ever. Not once. And it's just really disheartening to be treated like this. I see it with other filmmakers too, who make significant contributions but are not sufficiently recognized. I will never forget how the Circle Cinema people, treat me and others like me in the community, same as the Harjos who call me fake, violent, and I just wish they would stop bullying me and others like me in the community. I started the Indie Showcase because I was tired of having no place to go. So I ended up at Go shows, and a year later, we had some cool things happen. I feel like 2024 belongs to the Indie Showcase and all the indie filmmakers that made things happen. I'm sorry that you must be all overshadowed by the Harjos, which is funny enough. They also started a coalition of some sort, but have done absolutely nothing but screen one film, niche people who, again, treat us like shit. We've done so much, including the first haunted house in a movie theater, but beyond that, we did so much more. I know that's a lot to unpack, but I see it all the time. People moving in from other cities, people who have done work with more notoriety, so they instantly get treated better. They get everything. They instantly get a place above us. It's like, well, I acknowledge that work has been accomplished outside of Oklahoma and they are new to the scene here, but why do they have to disrespect us and pretty much step on everyone's toes? They say that they are here for the community, but it's far from the truth. I can tell by how they treat others that don't serve them or don't know or heard of. So me, for example, I'm an underground artist. I'm not mainstream, even though I've worked on tons of mainstream stuff. But as an artist in person, totally underground. And it's where I like to be for now as I continue on my path. But it's funny how poorly these people will treat you if you're not under their radar or whatever. Or they think so highly of themselves, they have to just immediately treat you like trash. And I don't like that. I'm all about treating everyone the same, you know? I've worked various jobs to support myself, including janitorial, work in Tulsa at resource stores. I did that for about a year when things got tough, but people like Sterling, I doubt have ever worked a hard job in their lives. They get everything handed to them on a silver plate and they act like they earned it and that they are geniuses. It just doesn't sit right how unauthentic they are. I know that was a long rant, but it really needed to be said. The sad part about Circle is right now doing this event with all of you here, they put in zero effort to invite any of their people. No one showed up. They didn't advertise it, they didn't tell their people, and I couldn't afford to place the event on their marquee. They were wanting to charge me $200 extra to advertise the event here on the marquee, and I just didn't have it. I literally spent my last few dollars to be able to do this event today. It's that important that it gets done. Even if I must pour in what little I have into it, I will. So that's why when you look at the marquee, you don't see our event being advertised. They wouldn't do it, even to help us out, and I couldn't afford it. Sad situation when there's no one there to back you up. Having that said, though, I did everything to promote the event, even did flyers, big 11 by 17 posters, and put them around the area. Some got torn down. In other places, when I went in, and left a flyer and said they would put them up, I noticed that they are not up. And I hate that. There appears to be hostility within the community, which I believe is not beneficial and would be better if reduced. I can't attend the coffee and crew meetings at Circle, and I've asked the OKAF if they could move meetings to go shows, and they blew me off and said I would have to join for me to petition that. In my mind, I was like, well, here we go again. So you want to extort money out of me before I can even attend a meeting that's supposed to be free to the public. Again, unfair and it's BS. Not doing it. I said either lift the ban at Circle or move to go shows. It's that simple. It's a better atmosphere. The people there really do care about other people and they care about local talents, like no other place I've been to as far as movie theaters go here in town. Now, because all of this has happened this year, I'm introducing the Circle of Cinemas. It'll be a coalition of local theaters and movie theaters working together to create opportunities for filmmakers to have their work screened throughout the year. Eventually, it will grow out of state as I'm building a 24 city film competition, which will be the basis for finding filmmakers and talents in other cities, networking with other local theaters and movie theaters, and build a circle of cinemas. It's the little things, you know? It's the little things that build up over time. Like the flyer I made to promote this panel discussion, they wanted me to put it by the bathrooms instead with the rest of all the movies and events being promoted. It was disheartening to be treated like that. And to add to insult to injury, their board for poster events was broken. So when I went back to the front counter and asked if there was another place I could post the flyer, they told me to return after the board is fixed. But at Go Shows, they have expressed no objections to my posting multiple flyers and placing posters on any window or location as needed. Do you see the difference in how people get treated? And it's not just me, in my opinion. People need to exercise their free speech and honestly hold up signs and picket outside their theater on the sidewalk for how bad Circle treats its local indie filmmakers. But yes, it's insane. From being a first grader with a VHS camera and having gone through everything I've gone through, it's pretty amazing considering I don't have a dime to my name nor connections, but it has never stopped me. I just do what I love, and I'll always push myself as an artist. I trust in the universe and that it's here to support me. So the limits of what I can do will always be pushed, and I feel strongly that these artists here sitting with us are the same way. I can just tell. We pour into our work daily, and that's what it takes. And that's what I hear from everyone else. They have an internal love and passion for this, and you really need to have that to get through it all, like the way we do. But I'm just happy I had my director's moment watching a legendary director work, like when Spielberg watched Hitchcock direct, or when Lucas would hang around Coppola, or when Nolan hanged around George Lucas' production of Star Wars, Episode One, I think. But yeah, I felt like I had my moment, like the rest of these directors, being on set and observing how they work. Nowadays, it's different. It's not like before. All people mostly do is sit in pop up tents. They call it a video village or something like that. and all the big wigs and directors sit and watch the monitor and direct from there. And I'm like, that's so weird to me. But that's because I'm used to being there with the actor and the camera always there with them, but always with a monitor and storyboard and shot list, bare minimum. But just to finish off, to other folks who are starting out or don't have the connections, honestly, if you honestly believe you can do it and you decide you're going to make your feature film or next project right now and dedicate yourself to it until it gets done, and it may take 15 years like it did me with Stray Kids, and that's okay. That's my journey as a filmmaker and artist. Some have it easier than others, and that's okay. But just realize if someone like me can do it, so can you if you feel like it's your calling. Because for me, it sure does feel like a calling. So that was a little section there in the first chapter. I want to skip ahead to some other parts that I guess it's still in the same chapter. There's a few things I want to read. I'm going to skip ahead here. Page 36. Sorry, my nose is running. I don't have any paper to wipe my nose. Sorry. So here's a section that I was talking about during the event. Thanks, Drew. He says, good luck. You can do it. My thing with the festival is great. If you can afford it, great. Do it. It's like a networking thing, right? The thing with my indie showcase is free. You don't have to pay, you know? There are so many now. My thing with the indie showcase is that it's not just the performance, the filmmaking, it's about the local music, puppeteering, magic. I'm including film because it's my main concentration. But I want to see more things happening at film festivals. Broaden it up so people who aren't about just local films, it's more like variety. We have to take a chance to catch them and be introduced to them. I find that a lot of Tulsans don't attend film festivals. Only small niche of people coexist in this space. But it must be more than just getting together with all the people that pay to enter the film and celebrate them. They must be about connecting local audiences and even international audiences to new independent movies they've never heard of or knew existed. The thing with Tulsa is that it's always been very much a music town, more than a film town. Tulsa being a film town is kind of a new thing. As the industry grows, and I've celebrated my 25th anniversary as an indie filmmaker, something I started doing obsessively when I was little, I just knew this is what I wanted to study. But I did it on my own terms, as a kid with no money, no connections, or any real experience other than the ones I provided for myself, shooting things with my handheld cameras, making hundreds of silly shorts, until I told myself I was going to push myself to see how well I could fine tune my craft. So eventually, after 17 bare bones indie projects, lots of books read, training, programs, theater, time spent on movies, sets, from the most expensive movies ever made to the cheapest movies ever made, what I'm trying to say is I've been here for a long time, just as long as Bare Bones has been a film festival, as a matter of fact, and the only festival to truly recognize my talents, although my position in life isn't the most comfortable in terms of financial, and filmmaking is most definitely, uh, and then the money thing and a talking thing. You talk the talk and walk the walk. And that happens when you spend time with professionals and doing the work. But overall, the Indie Showcase is my effort to bring local content to local audiences. And I'm building it to be so that local content can reach a national level. I've always had the attitude that, well, you have to roll up your sleeves and get to work. So I'm going to skip ahead to another section here. Um, this section here is, I believe, is it chapter 3. I'm going to read a little bit of the intro and then read the part that I said during the meeting. What's up, Ray Denise Querzonesa? Did I say that right? Queerosocena. Very interesting name. So this is part 3. Part 3 is The Hollywood Experience in Oklahoma by Local Talents, Killers of the Flower Moon. I got the chance to work on that. It was a great experience, and I got to see Martin Scorsese work. And that's what I was talking about earlier in this last section about how I feel like I'm on that path where all these great directors, Spielberg got to watch Hitchcock work, George Lucas got to watch Coppola work, Nolan got to watch George Lucas, and I got to watch Martin Scorsese. He's my all-time favorite film director. He's Italian, I'm Italian, it makes sense. Part three. I was surprised to find that I was the only person in Oklahoma to organize a little get together of more than a handful of actors, local actors, that worked on Killers of Flower Moon. It was really cool. I was even able to inspire local Channel 6 to come by and make a story on it. You can find multiple stories and events from past and present as well. What I'm up to at www.indieshowcasebulletinboard.com. For now, you will find things related to me, what I'm up to, the future of Indie Showcase events. There's lots developing there to help secure the true, authentic voices and filmmakers here in Tulsa. And other than Bob Dodd, who has been a big influence on me in my early development and experience of shooting community projects, because we all yearn to be part of projects because one, there were zero opportunities, and two, if a film did come, it was always the elite people who were already placed, or sometimes some newcomers that are the son of a producer or actor or whatever. In most cases, people like me, the outsiders, we were just shit out of luck. So what do? You do what you must. I had nothing to work off other than my own experience of watching movies and shooting things with consumer and prosumer cameras. My last film was shot on one some would call professional cameras. It's crazy how when I started making movies at home, shorts, etc., it was with a VHS camera. My hands were so small, I was so tiny that the whole camera was super heavy. I was a toddler. It's been quite the journey as an artist who had a camera in his hands his whole life. How the cameras have evolved, it just blows my mind. So many incredible tools to create, and I'm starving to use them. Put them to use. Put people to work, hire the best, the newest, the enthusiastic, you know, really go full and be the filmmaker I was meant to be. I honestly think this is just part of my journey. Every encounter, hardship, and challenges. My last film was recorded using cameras that are considered professional by some. Question comes down to, do you get back up when you get knocked down? And for me, it's a definite yes. I always get back up. There's been lots of times I wish I quit it all, but you can't quit something that you're naturally enthusiastic about, almost like by birthright. I think it's neat to be the first one in my family to be a filmmaker. There's a first for everything. And the thing is, I don't really quit something completely. I pivot a lot. But that's part of it. When something isn't working, you re strategize. If it is, you continue. You evolve to get better. If the momentum gets pissed on, then you find a way to keep it going. And don't be afraid of bad press, especially if you're innocent in your heart and you stand on your principles and convictions. Or if not, and you simply made mistakes, it takes a lot to own up to them and restart. But that defines me in a nutshell, someone who gets knocked down a few times and I get back up even stronger. People know who I am locally. They know of my resilience towards impossible odds and situations. That's why I was the first and the youngest filmmaker in Oklahoma to be crowned India Tour. That's not a self titled thing like people criticized and bullied me and belittled me for. That's their mistake for not understanding me and laughing at us. That's their mistake. But hey, mistakes happen. No one is perfect, not even me. So I'm not one to hold grudges. I'm one to make points. There is a clear difference. I'm fighting for justice in my own way, and the other is irrational anger, which leads to violence. I'm neither violent nor irrational. I bring it up because it's some of the nasty things people said on Facebook and started spreading rumors that led to the FBI knocking on my door. But it was an immense pleasure and huge success to bring everyone together in this way. And I was surprised that no one in the community had the leadership to do this or see the significance of doing this event. So I had to step in, do something, and it was a great gathering. The group discussion includes Patrick McNicholas leading it, as well as participating in the discussions, myself as a speaker and organizer, and the other special guest speakers were also Brian Shoup, Jeff E. Howard, Chase Parker, Jeremy Goodvoice, Che Nichols, and Brett Bauer. It was exciting to hear the stories and personal insights. The event took place at Go Show's December 30th, 2024. It was a nice way to end the year, and I hope to have more of these dialogues and perhaps more books written out like this to help inspire the next generation of filmmakers, writers, actors, and even keep that fire burning for some of us that sometimes get lost and discouraged. And I want to add that on Facebook, Lily Gladstone gave us a thumbs up for putting on this event. And if you don't know that name, she was the star of Killers of the Flower Moon. I shared it to her and she shared it on her official page, reaching millions of people. So it was a huge deal for us. So we are grateful of her approval for doing that. And Lily Gladstone, I got the chance to see her again at Dead Center when she was there at the screening of a time traveling animation that blew my mind. So, one takeaway about your film, especially if you want to make it in the big festivals and get all that recognition, is mastery of the craft to make the movie seamless without technical flaw, stars, good story, good acting, and the wow factor. Get that in order, and bam, but I digress. And then starts the conversation with all the people. Let's see. So here's you know, people give their introductions. Here's me giving the introduction. I want to read the introduction I give at the beginning of this panel discussion. I'll read my part, but if you get the book, you'll get to read everything that these people say. I mean, these are people that have worked on big movie sets like Killers of Flower Moon. Hank Bird was the writer of Boneyard, starring Mel Gibson and 50 Cent. So he's in this book talking about his path. I mean, these are all great people who recently got like a few breaks in life, you know. So here's my little section in this panel that we had with all these great people. Here's what I say, just a little bit of it. Hello, my name is Lasso, and I worked on as a COVID and safety PA for 3 months roughly. And through the whole time the production was going on, I submitted to be an extra. Not once did they pick me for anything. And my thing was that I got to go anywhere I wanted as a COVID PA when it came to the area I was assigned. So I walked pretty much every set for weeks at a time. They would tell me where to go, tell me where I was needed to be on those days, and some days early on production before shooting began. So most of the time the sets were empty and as in devoid of people, and it would literally just be me. No bathrooms, which meant I just had to go outside or drive to the head office to go. And mind you, it was still cold and freezing when I was there. It was still early in the year, but that was my job. It was stupid and a waste of time and talents, but I guess it was better than nothing. At least I was part of the production. Nowhere near I should have been placed. In my opinion, I should have been placed with the cinematography crew. So I was immensely disappointed when I didn't get that position. But you know, the COVID thing was a huge thing at the moment. People made a big deal out of it. Some were Nazis about it, and I was super laid back and chill about it. I never gave anyone trouble for not wearing a mask on set, especially when they were alone outside by themselves in the sun. Our thing was we got there first and left last. We tested everyone in the morning. We made sure everyone got in line and didn't forget at the start of each day. So I knew everyone and saw everyone coming in. But again, for me, it was enough just to be on set and have that experience. There's nothing like it. And for someone like me who truly appreciates Scorsese's work, I mean, Taxi Driver, inspirational work, even Mean Streets, which was a huge inspiration for me when it came to making my feature, Stray Kids. So to have that chance to be a fly on the wall with Martin and the entire crew was such an unforgettable and most cherished memory and experience as a film geek and filmmaker myself. And being Italian and being in Oklahoma, it just hits different. But I'll get into that more when I go into my experience. But to hurry up and finish off here and pass the mic, I did read the book before the announcement of Scorsese's making the film. I'm naturally drawn to Oklahoma's history, and it happened kind of by accident. When I was younger and first going to school here at Union School here in Tulsa, I had just moved from France, and getting used to Tulsa and making friends was tough for me. But it's one of those things that I moved around so much and lost friends that I kind of gave up on making friends, you know? And so I had a hard time with that. But in school, there was a competition to design the state quarter. At the time, every state was revealing a unique design for their quarters, and I was part of a competition to see who came up with the best design. Mine was an oil rig with native feathers crossing over it. I actually came in second. The first place one, believe it or not, was Will Rogers, and and that was funny as a film guy and kid. Would have thought I would have picked Will Rogers, but to tell you the truth, I didn't know who he was at the time. But what I can tell you to get to my point, I shared the same birthday as the statehood of Oklahoma. And it was during that competition that I learned it instantly was that I was instantly connected to Oklahoma, November 16th. I always thought that that was cool in a way, that my birthday was like some weird cosmic universal connection to Oklahoma. I felt like I'm supposed to be here doing exactly what I'm doing. And so I started really getting into the history of Oklahoma. And since then, I've been a self taught amateur historian of Oklahoma, from the race riots to the Osage murders. These events were already on my radar by the time I got to the University of Tulsa. And my last short film, after I had done Out from Smoke and Ash, was going to be another short art doc in the spoken word retelling the story of the Osage murders. And I did read the book before production ever took place. In fact, I was in LA, part of a director program I was chosen for. I was in LA for that, and I happened to be in town in the same area in LA. There was this bookstore, which, by the way, I love books and bookstores. Anyway, this one was called the Last Bookstore, and there was this book club meeting. And one of the days I was in town in LA, meeting on September 3rd. I remember, or was that September or August? I remember the day vividly because I got done meeting with professional writers of movies that I admired growing up. So it was a special day. So anyway, I go to the book club meeting at this bookstore because the Killers of Flower Moon book was being presented, and it was on my list of books to read to find out more about the Osage murders and everything. Most of everything, like the FBI files, are available online. So I read through those and other websites that fully disclose everything. Now, what the book does really great is organize all the information and the telling of the story from the eyes of the FBI accounts and personal research done by David Gran. Personal research and investigation, the book is insanely impressive. So I got myself a copy and read it eventually, and I went through and started underlying important parts and characters because I wanted to make a short film. And I went as far as to make a GoFundMe for the project, which, if you check my YouTube channel, that GoFundMe video is still on my channel for the project because I wasn't having any luck with grants. So I still have that video up. But because after reading the book, and my thought was I was going to make this short film and tell a story because I felt it was important to do so. So I went and visited Pahuska and the courthouse. At that time, I didn't know Scorsese would jump on it and make a movie out of it. But when I found out that he bought the rights to the book, I kind of was like, huh? Go figure. Great minds think alike. That my hero, like my hero would choose to do this book as the next movie, the book I chose to read and use as my basis for the next short film. So I had to decide on something. Since I didn't have the backing of a grant, I thought, why not wait for when Scorsese shoots the film? And I just assumed he would come to Oklahoma considering how he works, but maybe we just got lucky in Oklahoma. What's crazy is I've always dreamed about being on set with Scorsese, and I got my wish. But yeah, as soon as I heard he was coming, I applied for every single job. A lot like the grants, I apply for them all. I take my shots and I get whatever I get. I suppose, and considering how many times I've submitted to be an extra through Freihofer, I never got picked up for anything. So I ended up with probably one of the worst jobs you can get, COVID PA. Silly job at the end of the day. I was essentially a hall monitor, and nobody liked us. People told us we were useless and just extra people. We had to wear these stupid blue vests that made you feel like you were a volunteer or something just visiting. Just felt silly. But it was mandatory for there to be a COVID PA on set. It was part of the SAG rules. So, of course, most of my time as a COVID PA was alone on set away from the action. And I only actually got to spend a couple of weeks with the main cast and crew while they filmed. So I did something that probably no one in this room would have the balls to do. I snuck in the dressing room and found something and got dressed and went to the holding for extras and got snacks and hung around until I saw my opportunity to step into one of the scenes with tons of extras. At this point, I had felt I had been shafted by the production people. They know me very well, and I can tell you they don't like me at all. All I got to do was what all I got was a shit COVID PA job. It's an insult, and to add insult to injury, I was placed on sets that had no one there for months. It was cruel. It was a cruel joke, but I never said anything. I just kept my head down and did my job. But I wasn't going to be pushed out of my dream of being in a Scorsese movie. So I did what I did, and I would do it again to shove it to the man that kept me out. I got what I wanted, so yeah, I'm that kind of guy. I will fight tooth and nail and bend some rules for treating me less than. And what really started it all was when I was on set alone. I would take a pen and paper to the set and start working on this sketch of Martin Scorsese and De Niro on set of Taxi Driver, both so young and working together. What a history they have. And to just have a crumb of it was enough for me. So for months alone on these sets, I would pull out my drawing until I finished it and decided one day I went to the main office and asked if I could give this to Scorsese. The second AD took it and gave it to his assistant, and I got a text message from his assistant saying that he loves it. I later got an email saying it was framed and hung in his apartment in New York. It blows my mind. But because of that, I was transferred over to the dressing room area. So that's where I got the idea. Every day I would be stationed there, go see people go in and get dressed. I understood their system. And one day, when I was ready to sneak in line, I had to do it at the right time. I had to snag clothes that fit me. So I kept tabs on who was my size and where and what clothes went where and how they track things. Saw that they kept extra clothes. So one day, I created my own little wardrobe, put in with the rest of the hangers, and the ladies in charge there, I think, noticed the clothes and were confused by it, but were too busy to look into it and kept it all to the side. So on a day that a lot of extras were needed, and I had a call sheet, so I kept track of everything schedule wise, so it was easy to stay ahead of them. So when the opportune time came, I went to the wardrobe ladies and asked for my clothes under my name. To their surprise, there it was. Still confused, but somehow made sense to them. It solved the mystery of the extra hanger with the costume, so they just went with it and didn't question it. One of the ladies thought my outfit was terrible, so she actually helped me get fitted a little better. And they also made sure I got makeup on and my hair was done right. So, like a secret agent on a Scorsese set, I just had to keep my composure and just go along with the system. Eventually, I went up to a PA and told him that I was an extra and that I got lost. So they would take me straight to the where the extras were being held. So it was more fitting. Little did they know how much she was really helping me and sneaking me in. But being calm and acting like I was supposed to be there made it work. And when you see that scene with the race cars, you will see me in the crowd. I took my moment. It was ballsy, but no, I wasn't going to be kept on the sideline like a chump. On purpose, I knew they did it on purpose, so I stood up for myself like I always do. I took fate by the horns. I didn't care what rules I had to break and how to sneak in, how I had to be, but I was playing by their rules and I wasn't considered for anything. It was insulting. I took matters into my own hands, and sometimes you just have to. But to cap off this story about the book, funny enough, David Grant came to the University of Tulsa. He was giving a public talk about the book, and I got there early because I wanted to see if I could somehow catch him and see if I can get him to sign the book. He wasn't signing books unless you paid a VIP price to get to the place where they had snacks and stuff. So anyway, I took my chances. I noticed that from the stadium chairs, I could overhear people talking, so I knew where the room was. And the room has windows and they were open. So all I had to do was climb up a little bit up to the opening of the window. And although it would have made for a better story, what happened was a security saw me hanging around the stadium and realized I had gotten in somehow. And I told her that I was actually lost and I'm supposed to be in the VIP area and I need help getting there. So you'd be surprised what a nice suit and tie will get, and ask politely for directions. You will get far. So the nice security guard saw that I looked apart, talked apart, sounded like I knew what I was talking about. So she brought me in. She took me to the VIP room where Dan was. Of course, I was nervous now, but I'm the king of staying cool. So I just went up to him and told him about me and told him I was a huge fan and would be honored if I could take a picture with him and if he could sign it, which he did. He's a cool dude, smart. It was nice to spend some time with him. So that was my experience with the story. And don't take no for an answer attitude. It's is one of that is one that many have, but one I find myself too often and getting me into trouble. Sometimes it works for me to do to my favor and sometimes not. But that's the fun of doing things first and apologizing later. Okay, so I just wanted to read that little section. There's one last section I want to read. That's so like I said, there's the paperback copy that you can buy on Amazon, or if you want to get the what I call the deluxe version, it's the hard copy. It comes with pictures and an extra chapter. The pictures are in color. There's a little section here in the middle of the book somewhere. Let me see. Where is it? Here we go. So this is a hardcover exclusive images. So this is like, for example, this has a flyer from when I was in that show, The Drunkard. It was a theatrical show. This is my Nostalgia Con flyer. It has like stuff that I've been in and pictures of me with the Pope and Tim Blake Nelson and some other celebrities and my artwork. This is my master sessions when I do table reads. You can see all the pictures here, all the people that are there. Lots of people attend my events. This is when I do the script reads. I read local feature films, feature scripts, and I get all the actors. I find all the actors to read parts, and then I read the narrative sections, and we put it on the big screen. So, you know, so here's some more like pictures. This is the Indie Showcase Film Festival nights that I would have at Go shows. Here's some like basically these QR codes. These are all like Channel 6 or News 2, like that covered my like some of the things I was doing. But anyways, let me read the last chapter in this book. It's only exclusive in the hard copy, the hardcover. It's called the hardcover exclusive. It's called Why I Stopped Going to Gypsy Coffee House. So let me read that little bit. It's a small chapter, won't take too long. Page 135. In downtown Tulsa, Oklahoma, as a local artist, I organized events there, setting up projectors, speakers, and free popcorn, trying to make the experience memorable. These events happened regularly, often every Tuesday or Wednesday, and I had devoted a lot of time and effort to making them work. A couple of days before one of my events, I stopped by Gypsy Coffee House to check on an advertising stand I'd built, which is probably still at the Hunt Club where I had my last event. After a quick errand to pick up a thumb drive from a friend, I returned to the coffee shop. During my brief absence, no more than 25 to 45 minutes, somewhere between there, complaints about parking has surfaced. Apparently, the place was notorious for parking complaints, especially on event nights when musicians and their guests struggled to find a spot. Even as a paying customer, getting there early and finding parking, I had the hot chocolate receipt to prove it. I became involved in the chaos. Management had gone out and noted every car and license plate, including mine, to address the complaints. When I returned, the atmosphere had shifted. A tow truck was already outside, removing cars of people that were not present at the Gypsy Coffee House. It's one thing to park your car there and leave for another venue, but with me, that wasn't the case. I only stepped out of the coffee shop to take a phone call because it was noisy. I checked with the manager to make sure my car wouldn't be towed and was reassured that I was fine since I was present and a customer because they saw me there. Still, I felt uneasy. Suddenly, another tow truck arrived and began to focus on my car. Again, I asked if my car was safe, and again, I was told not to worry. But I kept watching. Eventually, I saw my car on the tow truck. I rushed outside, shocked and upset, and tried to intervene, but the tow driver continued, citing rules that required payment to release the car once it was loaded. The manager, who had previously reassured me, disappeared when I confronted him. I tried to reason with the staff, but instead I was later accused of cursing them when all I did was call for help. The tow truck driver, meanwhile, was determined to leave with my car. I blocked him by literally standing in front of his tow truck, no doubt making a scene in the middle of the street. It was like a David and Goliath moment, and he threatened to call the police. He was also trying to be smartass by putting his tow truck in reverse and trying to back out into incoming traffic. I, of course, ran around the tow truck and stood behind him. There was no way that anyone, I didn't care who it was, they were not stealing my car like this. Here's the other thing about this that adds another layer of intensity. I had to pick up my parents from the airport the following morning, so there was no way I was going to allow that tow truck to leave with my car. Just just like life and fate, maybe someone tried to curse me, but that day, that moment seemed like a real test. I called the police as well to explain the situation, but the response wasn't helpful once they arrived. They simply insisted I pay the fee or face arrest, even though I had pleaded with them to go inside and talk to the managers about the situation. They didn't want to go in they didn't want to go through the trouble. Eventually, I paid the $200 needed to get my car down, and by force, it was extortion essentially, and the car was released. Now, the lucky thing about that night was that I happened to have literally $200 in my bank account. It wasn't so much that I had to pay, it was the principle of the thing. They screwed me over. No one did anything to help. To make things worse, they just stood by, watched, hoping I'd get arrested or minimum get my car towed. And neither happened. I'm talking about the musicians who just stood and did nothing as well. What did happen was the manager hid for the whole night, hiding from his mistake, and then probably telling everyone to lie to the guy who owns the place, telling him I was yelling and cussing in the store, which was partly true. I was yelling, but it was for help, and no one did anything. I digress. The tow truck drops my car down in the middle of the street. The experience left me frustrated with both the staff and the system, especially as I felt wrongly accused and let down. Despite this, I kept holding my events at Gypsy for an entire year, trying to stay positive and professional. Eventually, other issues arose rumors, lies, local favoritism, and I was no longer welcome. Still, I didn't let it break me. I went to display art in museums, screen films, sell out art events, pack out other theaters for film festivals, and accomplished a great deal in the following months afterwards, including publishing this book. Even after everything, I left a painting at Gypsy, and it remains there to this day, a little piece of history. The experience taught me about resilience and the importance of staying true to myself, even when facing unfairness or misunderstandings from others. I spent years studying writing, literature, and film, learning the intricate mechanisms that make a story work. Like a car engine, a working story requires every part to function together. Many people call themselves writers without understanding these complexities, but I put in the work, read the books, and learned from professionals. I still have goals to achieve, such as selling a script, but I know I have the knowledge and drive to succeed. Though the incidents at Gypsy Coffee House were frustrating, they didn't defeat me. I kept creating, learning, and growing. The story is a testament to perseverance, self worth, and holding on to your truth in the face of adversity. So there you go. Those are a few selections from the book. I hope you enjoyed it. There's the paperback you can get. It's like $14 plus shipment from Amazon, or you can get the hardback cover, which I call the deluxe version. It comes with pictures and color, and it comes with an extra chapter. I do want to work on the audiobook. I don't know if I'll get around to it, but I hope to do that next year, as well as start the second book. So there you have it, folks. Some reading material, some selections from my book. I hope you enjoyed it. You can go on Amazon right now and get yourself a copy if you found that remotely interesting. Plus, it does support what I do with the film festival. So, um, anyways, I'll announce when I do a book tour. I'm gonna try to hit up colleges and different bookstores, and I'll probably make some announcements about that. Try to get the word out on these books. And anyways, Thanks for those who commented and whatnot, and thanks for those who were here to listen. I really appreciate it. I may read some more, maybe next month. Read a whole chapter or something like that. But anyways, thanks for joining me tonight. I guess that's it for tonight as far as reading selections from that book. And like I said before, you can find it on Amazon. It's called Dialogues, Oklahoma Independent Cinema, and I will be re. It takes like a whole day for this live video to process, so hopefully by tomorrow evening, it'll be published, and you can check out and listen in to the selections that were read out loud. But anyways, without further ado, I'm gonna finish my tea, and I want to say good night. Hope you have a great evening or good morning wherever you are in the world, and just I appreciate you being here today on my birthday. And well, till next time, folks. I'm gonna exit here. So till next.